General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Sturbridge Planning Board will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information in the general guidelines for remote participation can be found on the town's website at www.sturbridge.gov/town-administrator/how-access-virtual meeting. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen and or watch the meeting either online via the town's on-demand video broadcast or on cable television on channel 191, or dial into the meeting at 774-304-1455, enter 1428# for the meeting number, and 12345 for the access code. This number is only active for the public during public meetings. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, like best efforts, we will post audio and or video recordings, transcripts, and other comprehensive record of the proceedings on the town's website as soon as possible after the meeting. So the agenda for this evening will be the call to order and the approval of the minutes of June 23rd. Following that, a plan which is requesting an approval not required for 34 Camp Road. After that, we'll have a continuation of site plan review public hearing for the pilot travel center at 400 Haynes Street. Following that, we'll have the town planner update, then old business, new business, and then adjournment. Is Sue able to join that, or? Guess not. Okay.
She's calling in, Charlie. Charlie, Sue is calling in. She's having a hard time getting on. So you could go ahead with the minutes.
Okay. Great. Okay. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes of June 23rd?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Any comments, questions? If not, could I have a motion to approve them as submitted?
So moved, Russell.
Seconded, Jeff.
Okay,
Seconded, Jeff.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Russell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
So,
Yeah. And I vote yes.
I think Sue's here now.
Everybody-
Yes.
Sue's here now, Charlie.
Okay, and Sue, okay, great. And so, Sue, you're yes on the minutes as well?
Correct.
Okay, great.
Let me just
Very
change your
good.
name.
All right, so the next item, the A&R from William Brunel, 44 Camp Road. Jane, do you want to go over that?
Yes. Does everyone have the plan in front of you, or do you want me to share the screen and put up the plan?
I have it.
Everybody?
I have it.
Everybody has it? Okay. So, all right. So Paula and Bill Brunel are on the meeting with us this evening, and they have submitted a plan for their property on Camp Road. And you'll see that on the plan, you can see that they have two parcels. They have one large parcel and then one smaller parcel that their house sits on. So the purpose of this plan is to combine the two parcels to make one large conforming lot. So the plan meets the requirements, and I would recommend the board endorse the plan as submitted. And I know Sue Waters said she will stop by the office tomorrow and sign the plan.
Okay, great. Does anyone have any questions or comments on it? If not, do we have a motion then to approve the A&R?
So moved,
Jeff,
Russell.
second.
So moved.
Okay, so
Second,
moved, Sue.
Sue.
Russell, second? All right.
Yes.
One of the other. Okay. Russ, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Dane?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Very good.
Okay.
Charlie, I vote yes as well.
Paula and Bill, oh, I'm sorry, did Michael vote?
No, I forgot mine.
Oh,
Yeah, I just voted, yeah.
okay, thank you. Paula and Bill, we will call you once the plan is signed, and you can stop by and pick up the Mylar. So you're all set. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night.
Very good. Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Okay, next we have the continuation of the public hearings for the Pilot Travel Center. Gene, do you want to go over where we are?
Sure. So I know, I think Brad's going to give you a brief update on the changes that have been made, but basically, since the last planning board meeting, we've been working diligently with Pilot Travel. Alan Roscoe's been working quite hard in getting us lots of finer details. And as of today, we either have everything that we need, or you'll see that there's a few conditions of approval that I've recommended that would make slight modifications or just add notations to the plans. Brad is going to go over, I believe, the items that have been changed, and John Shevlin is also on the line as well. But basically, the Conservation Commission has continued the hearing to its next meeting. However, they've given the applicant permission to start the demolition. They do plan to issue an order of conditions at their next meeting, and I'm recommending approval of this plan this evening as well. Brad, do you need me to have you share your screen, or do you just want to speak to the board?
If you will let me share the screen, that'll be great.
Sure. Yep. Okay. What happened?
When you're sharing yours, I need you to let me share mine.
Right.
Hold on. To the row next to him. Right here.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Make presenter.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Sorry. All right, Brad, can you, there you go.
Okay. So thank you again, everyone, for continuing to work with us on this project. As Gene mentioned, Conservation Commission last week did have a few details they wanted to work out. Rather than putting, everybody was okay with the plan, but rather than putting a bunch of conditions, they wanted to approve a plan that was finalized without conditions. But they did give us, grant us permission to go ahead and begin demo and build the retaining wall for the new building in the interim time frame. We plan to start asbestos abatement most likely tomorrow. That's when our 10-day notification period for the asbestos on that building expires. So we'll start abatement, and then it'll take about a week and a half. Starting on the 27th, we plan to be full demolition of the abandoned building. That'll take roughly 2 weeks. Then we'll build the retaining wall, assuming obviously that I get approval here tonight. We'll build the retaining wall, and after building the retaining wall, we'll backfill behind it, and then we'll be off to the races with the new building. So things are progressing. As Gene said, we've been going back and forth revising what I believe everybody, John, Alan, Gene would agree are details on the plans. There's been no substantial changes to the design at all, but trying to address the comments of conservation and you guys, as well as John's third-party review. So on the screen, you'll see, can't see it on screen. On the screen, you'll see the overall site plan, and there's, I'm just going to go through the kind of the big talking points that we've had to make sure that we're all on the same page. And what I've done on all these sheets is I've clouded in red the areas where substantial changes happen. The first, the first area, and this was a request by Conservation Commission, is that we put a gate here. It's kind of a knockdown gate to keep people from driving over the dam that goes over the stream or the brook and creates the pond. So we've put a note there that we'll put in that gate to provide protection for that area. The biggest change probably to the entire site, and I believe I mentioned this briefly the last time we met when we continued the site, but there was a lot of concern about trucks parking in this area, the southernmost parking area, what we kind of refer to as the upper lot. And backing up, and then as you're probably aware, behind the curb line, it drops off the brook. And trucks were just dumping unwanted parts of their load down the brook, creating just a mess, potentially impacting the stream. We don't want to see that happening. So after a lot of back and forth with conservation and I believe with you guys as well, what we've decided to do is actually pull up approximately 12 feet of asphalt and put a new curb line in, and then put 15 feet behind that curb line, an 8-foot tall chain link fence. The reason I wanted to have the 15 feet is a typical design for us would be a 60-foot truck parking space with a 15-foot clear behind the curb line because of the overhang of the rear of the trucks. They always back into the spaces. And that way I can protect that fence from being pushed down, knocked down by the trucks. The other thing that I can't push the fence any further down the slope because it drops so fast, we lose the effectiveness of an 8-foot tall fence. So this is actually a standard parking design for one of our sites, 700 plus facilities. It's a great layout, and I think it's going to be a huge environmental improvement. One, because we're going to be able to protect from dumping, and two, we pulled up another, however long that is, times 12 feet of impervious surface that will be replaced with grass. So I think a win for everyone on that one. The next page I'm going to go to is just a blow up of the front part of the site. One of the areas that we discussed was a couple of times was with John at least was the crosswalks. So we have revised this area between the building and gas parking area or gas fueling area, and then the additional parking with a series of crosswalks and stop marks to protect pedestrians who may be circulating through the site or who want to go on beyond our site and walk down the road. So I believe John has indicated in his last review letter that this is satisfactory. The other area, probably the other big area of change that you'll see on these plans is modifications to the infiltration basins. There's one that's immediately adjacent to the Ovide Pond, another that's on the other side of our access road from that pond. And we've had to recontour those to avoid the 50-foot wetlands buffers. And we've also modified the landscaping in those areas to accurately reflect tree removal and protection, and also show any new trees that are going to be going in. The next thing I want to show is kind of the middle portion of the site. So to the far left, you see the beginning of that upper truck parking lot. Over here would be the building. But we've got, we're continuing the fence along behind this parking area. Again, that probably won't be 8 feet. I'll drop to a 4 foot, which is our standard kind of trash fence. It's just to keep trash from blowing around. It'll be effective in blocking trash very well. But this road that goes back to our water treatment building was requested. What material is it going to be? And it's going to be a crushed stone. It's going to have a geotextile fabric under it. That was indicated in our response letter, and I believe, again, that John signed off on that. And then this is from the landscaping plans. It just shows the area of those two ponds that there's going to be a lot of grass there. We're still working a little bit with Conservation Commission, but about tree disposition and replacement. And one of John's comments was, hey, you're doing a lot of fill in some of these areas. Will the trees survive? And my response to him was, if working with the landscaper and with town staff, we are concerned that the trees won't survive after we've done the fill in those areas, we'll replace the trees. So either way, there won't be additional loss of trees.
Yeah, Brad, I just want to add that I'm not a landscape architect. I just know those are the types of things that people have thrown at me in the past. When we try to fill, a little bit over a tree, that's the only reason I brought it up. It could survive. I'm just questioning whether the landscape architect could have an opinion on it.
And again, we will address that kind of during construction. If it looks like it's not going to, no questions asked. We'll come to Gene and say, we're proposing to put in a red oak, whatever is acceptable, and are you okay with that? And we'll go from there. So that's kind of the big changes that we've made. There are a lot of small changes, cleanup type things that were done after our last kind of full hearing, if you will, in addition to several rounds with Conservation and with John. So I think we've gotten our plans to a point that they are satisfactory to John, satisfactory to Gene, and we would ask that you guys go ahead and approve those plans. I've read over the conditions that she proposes, and all those conditions are perfectly acceptable. And just to give you a little feedback, or a little heads up on timing, I've mentioned where we are on demo. Health has approved the plan pending me giving them a couple more pieces of information, some more money, so that'll happen in the next couple of days. Mass DOT has approved our driveway permits. Conservation Commission we should finish up with on August 4th. The building department, Nelson, is happy with what he's seen. We're just working through some paperwork issues. So not even issues, just working through the paperwork. So we're right there on all of our approval. And it's very important that we be able to get started as soon as possible, because as I mentioned to the Conservation Commission, I need to get this site opened up and closed back as quickly as possible, because we don't want to have the ground open up during the winter any more than possible, because then snow removal is going to become a lot more difficult. Erosion control is going to become a lot more difficult. So we want to get this thing going so that we can, one, get the construction done in better weather, and two, so we can provide a much better facility and much better service to our guests who may be just traveling up and down the highways, but also to the town of Sturbridge.
Very good, thank you. Anything else from Pilot? Or?
Take him off the screen now.
Okay. We did get a report, an updated report from John. John Shevlin, would you like to go over and add anything to this?
Sure. Yeah, we've been working very close with Coors and Alan in particular. We have had, since the last meeting, 2 different submissions that were reviewed. As Brad mentioned, a lot of the things were relatively minor. Some were things that just came up in the whole review process. I think everything has been working in the right direction. I think a lot of the comments that we have had have been addressed appropriately. One of the things that I know that was talked about was in regards to like Haines Street and crash data came up, and I know that's just one thing I just touched on because I know Brad didn't mention it, but Haines Street, I think Brad has agreed that they will work with the local enforcement as far as putting appropriate signage up there for no parking, and will work with the police as far as going ahead and monitoring in regards to anybody out there. The crash data, they did have in the traffic report crash data from Mass DOT. Typically what we found, the crash database is pretty complete, but I know somebody went ahead, I think, just brought the question in regards to check with the local police. I believe that has occurred as far as check with them, and I believe that they stated that there's a combination of on-site crashes and off-site, but I think for the most part I don't see any safety issues. I think if anything that could be, as mentioned, could be rear enders that may have occurred in the parking lot, but nothing that's could be anything that's going to be a real safety issue. So I think what they have provided in the traffic study is complete. I'm sorry, go ahead, Brad.
Sorry, I spoke with interim chief Desert today, Desert, sorry, and he agreed with that. He said that the total number of traffic incidents was larger than the DOT data indicated, but his department does not separate on-site and off-site. They just associate it with an address. So when he called me back after digging into it further, he said, use the Mass DOT crash data. That's going to be more accurate. He and I did discuss traffic controls on the road, and I indicated that we were perfectly willing to put up no parking signs along Route 15. We just need, obviously, the town's approval and or DOT's approval to do that. I can't put up signs in the right of way without a blessing, but if that's the direction, we will immediately seek permission to do that. And I can't imagine Mass DOT is going to balk at that, but we'll work with them to get that done.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So I think all the comments we've had between, at the Conservation Commission last week, previous planning board, based on the review, based on the information provided, I think the project, as far as on the engineering side, is in good shape. I think, the overall design for the stormwater, I think, the water quality is going to improve. The water volume runoff is going to be reduced, so I think it's better for the environment in general. And then as far as just site layout, I think with the way they have the site laid out and the way the trucks would be coming in and circulating and the stacking, I think it's going to help get rid of any queuing that goes back up to Haines Street. So I think overall, I think as far as the site layout and the site design, I think it's a huge improvement. I think it's it's looking good as a good engineering project. So.
Okay, great. And I understand also that we received information that the Mass DOT curb permit was approved, and you did get approval to the third driveway?
Yes, sir. The existing car driveway will become an exit only, and then what I'm going to call the center driveway will be the new entry point for cars, and then of course the truck driveway just remains as it is, other than tying the curbs in. But yes, that was approved today. It's permitted in hand.
Great, very good. Okay, John, anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay. All right, I'll let the board ask questions now. Mike, do you have any questions or comments?
No questions.
Okay. Russell?
No questions, just a comment to Brad. As this project goes along, normally we have seen on large projects where there's some minor changes to the site plan, and don't hesitate to work with Gene and our board to get those taken care of as quickly as possible. So
Absolutely.
I appreciate all the work you've done working with the town board and Gene and John and everything else. It seems like this is you guys have all worked together nicely, and it's encouraging to see. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Russ. Jeff?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Dane?
I have a question for the front parking area next to the propane storage. Brad, I don't know if you can share your screen again, but I'll try to describe what I'm talking about. I thought I had made this comment last week, but in that parking field, there's one little island in the middle that's striped as a triangle. And that layout wants another little striped triangle right next to it because there's a three-way intersection with no traffic control. So I think we need to add a little more striping there and clean that up. Is that clear, or am I being confusing?
Well, I'm a little confused, but let's get it up here and we'll.
Perfect.
Okay.
So you see
So
underneath the
here's
word wetland. Sure. So in the middle, 2 rows of islands. Yep, you're right over that little triangle I'm talking about. There wants to be another one just to the right.
Right here?
Nope, you're not going to lose any parking spaces.
Are you talking about right here?
Exactly. You're going to close that up with a striped triangle just like you did on the other row. But then we need a stop bar for that drive aisle that's on the upper side of that row. For the we have a 3-way traffic aisle intersection with no stop control.
So
you're drawing the triangle correctly with the little hand.
If that's the board's pleasure, we can do that.
And then with a stop bar in that other aisle just above it there?
How about stop bar right here?
Yeah, exactly. And then that way, the people that are coming to the site have the right of way, and there's no conflict, as they don't have to look over their left shoulder to make sure they don't have an accident there.
And just remember, this driveway is an exit only, so there's nobody
Right.
coming in this way.
That wouldn't be my concern anyway. I'd be concerned that two people would be coming from the center drive aisle towards the exit only, and conflict right there because neither of them has a stop bar.
Okay, that's fine. We can do that, Alan. If you, I guess Gene, if you can put that as a condition, and Alan, we'll get that thrown on the plan.
Perfect. And then up on the northernmost, I guess it'd be the westernmost entrance, the double truck entrance, it's showing a single yellow. Can we make that a double yellow?
Sure.
That's great. Those are my only comments. Thank you.
Brad, could you move your cursor over where he's talking about, because I'm not seeing? Oh, okay,
This to be double yellow.
double.
Exactly. Thank you, Brad.
Okay, thank you, Jane. Sue?
I have no questions.
Now I gotta stop,
Yeah, so if you pull down.
and then,
I'm sorry, Sue, I couldn't hear you, Sue.
I have no questions.
Oh, okay, great, thank you. Okay, Jane, do we have anyone from the public that's interested in making a comment?
we're going to check right now.
Is there anyone on the public line that would like to make comment about Pilot Travel Center public hearing?
I just dumped Brad off the meeting, so we'll have to wait a second for him to get back on.
Okay.
I guess he has no comments.
Oh, gosh, Janae, I clicked the wrong button there on the sharing. I threw him right out of the meeting.
It's weird because he's still sharing.
He's still sharing, but how do I,
I guess share your own screen and
Charlie? This is Sue.
then stop.
Can you hear
Yes,
me?
Sue.
Yep.
Yes.
Has the tree warden been involved in the planting, in the questions with the landscape architecture?
what did I just do?
I don't know. Everyone looks fine here.
No, can you,
I'm back. When you took the screen away
I'm
from
sorry,
me, Gene,
Brad.
you no, that's okay. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything in those couple of minutes there.
No, I knew I dumped you, so I asked everybody to wait. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Okay. So Sue had a question about the involvement of the tree warden in the landscape plan.
No, our new tree warden is not reviewing our landscape plans. He'll be reviewing the tree plantings as they go in, but not our landscaping plans. So we've been reviewing those in our department and looking up the plant materials and making sure things are adequate for this area. But he will be giving guidance when we do the tree plantings and also if any of the trees die. So trees are kind of his expertise, more than, perennials and things like that.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's okay, but I'm just wondering. I'm on my cell phone microphone, okay?
Yeah,
Just so you understand the problem here. If he is going to make sure the proper trees are planted, how are we any experts in what plants are planted? Perennial plants.
So the landscaping plans have been reviewed by the Design Review Committee. As I noted, I've reviewed all of the plant materials. I've looked up all of the species to make sure that they're adequate for this area. And the Design Review Committee has approved the landscaping, and I have reviewed the landscaping. So short of hiring a landscape architect to review all of the landscaping plans, this is the way that we are now reviewing our landscaping plans. It's similar to when our DPW director left, we had no one that reviewed stormwater. We no longer have someone that's a landscape architect, so it's not uncommon that we
Has
review.
it been helpful to review past plantings from our committee?
Pardon?
Has it been helpful for you to review what has been approved in the past when we had a tree warden who was able to assist?
Well, yes, because I review all the landscaping plans as well, and most of the times I'm the one pulling up all the plant materials and making copies of all of them for the design review committee so that they can see what's being planted. So, yes.
Okay, and is there a reason we're not involved in that?
You are, it's part of the site plan, so any questions or comments, you can certainly be asking on the landscaping as we go along. That's absolutely part of the planning board
thank you.
process. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Very good. Jane, were there any comments from the public or any questions, anyone from the public?
No, there's no one from the public, and there were no email public comments either.
Okay, great. Okay, could I have a motion then to close the public hearing?
So moved, Russell.
Russell, a second?
Second,
Second, Sue? Okay, great. Mike, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay. Russell?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Sue? And I vote yes. Okay, Jane, do you want to go through the conditions?
Sure. Condition number 1, other than modifications required by these conditions, all construction and improvements shall be in conformance with the plans submitted and approved by the planning board. The construction phasing shall comply with that proposed in the project narrative submitted by the applicant and referenced in this decision. A copy of the approved site plan shall be on site at all times during construction. 2, all state and local zoning bylaws, building codes, and regulations must be adhered to. 3, all other necessary permits must be obtained prior to the start of construction. 4, the site shall be kept in a neat and orderly condition throughout the construction process. 5, exterior construction shall only occur during the hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. to noon on Saturday. No exterior construction shall occur on Sundays or the following holidays: New Year's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas Day. 6, the applicant shall notify the planning department office 48 hours prior to the start of construction. 7, snow storage may only be stored as shown on the plan submitted. If required, excess snow shall be removed from the site during heavy snow events to prevent a loss of on-site parking. 8, an emergency contact phone list with at least 2 names and numbers on it shall be supplied to the Sturbridge Police Department and Planning Department to be used by dispatchers in case of an off-hour emergency prior to the start of construction. The list must be updated whenever necessary for the duration of the project. 9, all erosion and sedimentation control shall be installed as shown on the plan and inspected prior to the start of the demolition or site work. 10, no demolition of the existing structure and no site work shall occur until a demolition permit has been secured. 11, a pre-demolition meeting shall be held at least 1 week prior to the demolition. Present shall be the applicant's contractors and other appropriate designees, town planner, DPW director, police chief, fire chief, building inspector, or their designees. The purpose of the meeting shall be to discuss the demolition process, location of material disposal, dust control measures, and appropriate traffic and safety control measures. 12, the following dust control measures shall be adhered to throughout the entire demolition and construction process. A, spray disturbed areas with water on dry and windy days as needed. B, wash vehicle wheels before leaving the site as needed. C, periodically clean surrounding roadways near the entrance to the site. D, an anti-tracking, that should be pad, shall be installed and maintained throughout the construction process. 13, copies of the construction monitor reports shall be provided to the planning department on a monthly basis until completion of the project. Reports shall be provided by the engineer of record and shall detail work completed, any issues encountered, and any deviations from the approved plans. 14, during construction, an environmental professional working under the direction of a licensed site professional shall be on site to monitor the excavation work and removal of the existing product piping and tanks. If any new reportable conditions are detected, the LSP shall follow appropriate procedures for reporting of conditions and for removal of excavated materials. All reports shall be provided to the planning department and the fire department. 15, all excavation and trenching will be in accordance with the state trenching regulation 520 CMR 14, excavation and trench safety. The construction area shall be secured using temporary fencing as needed, and as an additional safety measure, the contractor shall utilize temporary safety fence around the perimeter of the tank excavation. 16, the stormwater operations and maintenance plan and site records shall be stored on site to ensure employees are familiar with the demands of the plan. 17, if after investigation it is determined the storm drain pipe on the west side of the driveway will contribute to site drainage, the stormwater management system shall be modified accordingly, and plans and calculations provided to the planning department for further review. The applicant shall be responsible for payment of any peer review fees required to complete the review. Any modifications to the system shall be reflected on the as-built plans. 18, tree protection details as shown on sheet TD2 shall be complied with, and all protection measures shall be installed prior to the start of site work. If despite best efforts to protect existing trees as shown on the plans approved, trees noted for preservation do not survive, the applicant shall plant replacement trees. The caliber and species and plan shall be provided to the planning department for review in consultation with the tree warden prior to installation. 19, sheet TD2 must be updated and provided to the planning department. The table on sheet TD2 must be updated to include species of trees numbered 100 through 107. The tree protection fence shall be shown on all trees marked to remain. The tree preservation table and list must be rectified so they are consistent with the number and type of trees being preserved and trees being removed. 20, the cover sheet, sheet index, shall be revised to add sheet S3.0 typical details. 21, sheet C9.0, C9.1, C9.2 shall be revised for outfall callout to overflow callout. 22, the applicant shall provide the planning department with copies of the notifications to be sent to customers, alerting them of any closures to eliminate as much traffic as possible during shutdown. 23, plans for maintenance of traffic flow during construction shall be provided to the planning department for review and approval by the chief of police or his designee prior to the start of construction. 24 can be deleted. We, this afternoon, received the stamped and signed stormwater checklist. 25, which will become 24, actually can be deleted in consultation with the Conservation Commission. That will be part of their orders of conditions. So actually 26 will become 24. Stockpile areas shall be monitored regularly during construction to be sure suitable erosion controls are in place and drainage inlets are protected throughout the project. 25, maintenance is required for all plantings as proposed. The plantings shall be reviewed annually by the owner/applicant, and any plant materials requiring replacement shall occur. 26, an as-built must be provided for all the site work, including plantings, when work has been completed. And then, I guess as 27, I'll need a little help with this condition because I don't know what sheet that was on. But as per discussion this evening, a striped triangle and stop bar shall be added to the plan set. Brad, can you tell me what sheet that was?
it'll show on, primarily on C3.1.
C 3.1, thank you. And a double yellow line, was that the same sheet?
It'll be on the same sheet.
Okay. So a striped triangle and stop bar and double yellow line, as discussed at the planning board meeting, shall be shown on plan set sheet C3.1. Will be condition number 27. And that's all I have.
Okay. And Gene, should we have a condition regarding the addition of no parking signs along Main Street?
Yes. So we'll add number 28, applicant shall work with police department and Mass DOT as appropriate for the installation of no parking signs along Route 15.
Okay, good. Very good. Any other questions or comments from anyone on the board regarding those conditions? If not, could I have a motion then to approve the site plan subject to those conditions?
So moved, Russell.
Russell, okay. Do I have a second?
That's second, Mike.
Seconded.
Okay, great. Mike, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay. Russ?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Very good. Thank you all very much.
Thank you all very much for working with us on this. We look forward to getting under construction and getting you guys a nice, new, pretty pilot travel center instead of the one that's there now.
We look forward
Great.
to
We're
it as
looking
well.
forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Anybody?
All right. Gene, next we have the town planner update.
Okay, so our next meeting is August 11th. We'll actually have a pretty busy agenda. We'll have Pilot Travel will actually be coming back for their special permit for their signs. And then we will have a informal meeting with Justin and John Stelmach, and they are proposing a 55 and over on property off of Main Street toward the Southbridge-Sturbridge town line. So they'd like to come in and present to the board and get some initial feedback before they finalize plans. And then you may have heard that there's a potential equestrian center, horse racing track proposed off of Route 15. They met with the Board of Selectmen last Monday. The selectmen gave them basically the I won't say the go-ahead, but yes, the go-ahead to kind of move on to the next steps and start further evaluation of this project. They didn't vote to support the plan, but rather to support them going forward and doing more investigation. And so as part of that, they would like to come in and make an informal presentation to the planning board and get any of your initial thoughts and comments back. They will be working on a zoning bylaw that if the selectmen decide that they would like to approve this location, which would be the first step, then it would go to town meeting for approval for an agricultural entertainment overlay district that would allow for a large-scale agricultural entertainment center and horse racing track. So they'll be coming in as well, so pretty full agenda on the 11th. And then the only other thing, I have the Pilot Travel Quarterly Report, which will probably be one of our last ones we'll receive because that was under the old permit. So you'll notice in the new permit, I did not call for that. I think that some rather random on-site monitoring would probably be better because as we've noticed sometimes with the quarterly reports, it doesn't necessarily pick up on everything, like we didn't know about the loads being dumped over the hill until we started doing review for this application. So I don't really know that they need to continue that practice. So we'll see how it goes with the new site and we'll go from there. That's all I have.
Very good. Thank you very much. Okay. Old business. Sue, do you have any old business?
Charlie, I have a question for Jean. about the proposed equestrian center. The exact location of that site.
So it's on really on the Sturbridge, Connecticut line, on Sturbridge and Union, Connecticut. There is one site that's owned by Pontbriand, and there's another site adjacent to that, I'm not sure who owns it, that they are trying to negotiate to get under option. And there's also a piece in Connecticut that they are working to, or they have under option, that I'm not sure who owns that.
How is
I
that?
don't know. Well, go ahead, Jane. Ask how it was accessed.
How it's accessed? So I'm not sure how many of you had the opportunity to watch the Selectmen's meeting, but they are actually trying to gain access from Route 84 for this site. It actually has access on Breakneck Road, but their plan is not to use Breakneck Road for this facility. It would be to gain access directly from Route 84.
You may recall.
What's the talk about Breakneck?
What?
You know,
I'm sorry.
they're going to use 84.
I'm sorry, Sue, I didn't hear what you asked
It was
me.
my understanding they weren't going to go through Breakneck and
Right,
interrupt that
Yep.
residential area.
right, that's what I just said. They're hoping to use direct access from Route 84. What I said was it has frontage on Breakneck, but that they're trying to get access directly from Route 84 for the project.
And if they don't,
You know, I think it's,
Well, this is a long process.
yeah,
We don't even have zones.
right.
huh?
I mean, it's a discussions.
Charlie, I didn't hear you.
I said this is just a really preliminary part of this thing. I mean, there are really, the zoning isn't right for it yet. I mean, all these issues will come up as they move forward. But I think, as Gene said, they're very clear in the idea that they recognize they don't want to put significant traffic onto Breakneck Road, and they're hoping to be able to have direct access off of Route 84. Now, I don't know if you recall, but this land is actually Pontbriand's land that was proposed several years ago for a casino. We had meetings with the town of Union, Connecticut, and so forth, because the casino was going to go in both Sturbridge and Union, Connecticut. But it's this Pontbriand land that is involved in this proposal.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay, so any old business?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Dane, any old business?
No.
Jeff?
Nothing.
Russ?
Just a quick question, Gene. I'm getting a lot of inquiries about the marijuana facilities. Nothing's happening anywhere. Have you heard anything? What's going on with that? I mean, there was a big rush. There was a huge rush to get it all approved and everything, and nothing's happening.
Well, COVID hit, and there's been a stay on appeals periods. So even though the permits were executed and granted by the town, the courts were closed, so the appeals periods did not start running until July 1st. So at first, we were told June 1st the appeal periods began to run, and so we actually issued a no appeal certificate on June 21st, but the courts did not reopen until July 1st. So on July 21st, if no appeals are filed, we'll issue a new no appeal certificate, and then those documents can be recorded at the Registry of Deeds. So unfortunately, they've been ready to move forward for 365 Main Street caregiver-patient connection. They didn't want to close on the property until they knew the appeal periods had passed. So once the decision is recorded at the registry, they'll close on the property. They would like to start construction as soon as they can. And then HEAL has filed with the Cannabis Control Commission. I'm not sure what their schedule has been through this COVID shutdown. And so they are awaiting approval of the Cannabis Control Commission. Once they get that, they'll be able to operate. So it's kind of been circumstances beyond everyone's control because of COVID.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very good, thank you. Mike, any old business?
None.
How about new? All right. Russ, any new?
Nope.
Jeff? Dane?
Nothing.
Sue?
Nothing.
Okay, and I don't have any new business either. So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Sue?
Second, Russ?
Yes, second.
Okay. Sue, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dane?
Yes.
Yes.
Russ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you, good night.
Night.
Good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.